The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Phixated Podcast. I am your host, Mike Azzolina, and I am joined by a guy who should be at Citizens Bank Park with me right now, Regz. It would be game 4. We would be there. We're not. We're going to get to it. But how you doing, buddy?
I was doing better till you just reminded me of that. I'm gonna be honest.
I've been thinking about it all day.
I just tweeted after the Cleveland game. I tweeted, I don't understand how people can say they can't like baseball, because nothing takes you on the roller coaster of emotions like our beautiful pastime. And I just said ... It's the best. And I'm gonna quote tweet myself in like 20 minutes and just go ... It's also the worst. Because, God damn it, man.
Yeah.
I want to be I want to be watching the Phillies. I don't want to be watching these dumb teams.
Yeah. It's hard. It's 100% difficult. I've watched pretty much every postseason game to this point since they've been eliminated, and you know there have been multiple moments where I've like turned to Andrea and said, I can't believe I'm not watching the Phillies. Dude, I swear to you, I think Mookie Betts might have just hit a 3-run home run.
Oh my gosh.
All I see is in-play runs. Was I right?
Double down the line, it looks like.
Oh, for those of you that wouldn't know this, which is all of you, before we came on the air, I said the Mets are bringing in Butto, which means Mookie Betts is going yard.
Yeah.
And he hits a 2-run double.
Two-run double, though.
Man. Close, man.
It was close.
Would have been a moment.
Yeah.
Regz and I are on one tonight. Before the show, we both basically simultaneously quoted Carrie Underwood, which is a whole nother level of friendship.
Listen, it's probably not the first time we've done it, but it's good to know we still got it. We still got it.
What a moment. What an absolute moment. So we're gonna take you through, Regz. I love what you said, baseball being like this roller coaster. No rooting interest in the ALCS at all.
Right. Yeah.
I prefer to see like the Guardians because they're new. Like, I know that the Yankees haven't won one in 15 years, but like, let's be honest. What are we talking about here, right?
Yeah, you got plenty.
So it would be cool to see the Guardians, but honestly, like when the Yankees took the lead, I was like, that was a fun inning to watch.
Yeah.
Like, you bring in Emmanuel Clase, who's untouchable all season, and he gives up back-to-back home runs to like these two absolute monsters.
Nothing is better and more stupid than baseball. They put up the stat. Emmanuel Clase gave up 5 earned runs all season.
Mm-hmm.
An entire baseball season. And has given up 6 in the playoffs.
Yep.
It doesn't make any damn sense.
And those 6 are on 3 swings.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
I had just gotten done messaging people like, this dude's throwing triple-digit cutters.
Yeah.
And the only approach you can take is an opposite field approach, and both of those dudes
are monsters. They're like literal aliens.
They're just unreal. So like that was fun, but then like then Noel ties it with 2 outs in the 9th, and Fry walks him off in the 10th.
Just absurd.
But I can't imagine what it would have been like to be a fan of either of those teams. The Guardians, knowing that like you have to win that game.
This is your playoff life. This is your life.
The Yankees sitting there and saying like, we win this game and we feel really good. But now, I think they can bring back Bybee tomorrow because he barely pitched the other night.
Yeah.
So you might be able to get 3 or 4 out of Bybee, and with their bullpen, I know what happened tonight with Class A, but their bullpen's still good enough
Yes.
to get you enough innings. They have enough arms out there. So it's gonna be a fun one tomorrow night. They're the late game tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the Mets and the Dodgers will kick it off at 5. So early baseball again tomorrow, which is fun but annoying. I feel like you could put both on and I'd be watching both. So
Yeah.
all right, but we got a lot to talk about tonight, man.
We do. A packed agenda, as they say.
We do. We're gonna talk. We are talking Sixers, Regz. We've made it. We're gonna do a little bit of Sixers
Pop
stuff.
the champagne for
Here
the
it
first
comes.
Sixers talk of the year.
It's gonna be a long year. I feel like it, just like it always is.
Mhm.
And then we are gonna talk Phils. We have both awakened from our slumber, and we're gonna get into the post-mortem press conference, and we're gonna talk about another team in baseball, not the Phillies. And we'll get into why. And then we are gonna hit the Eagles, but let's start in Sixers land. And it's not all as it would typically be. This is the only way you can talk about the Sixers. It's panic time already. And the tip is 5 days away. And it is already panic time.
Yeah.
Regz, a few things. Let's start with Joe, because it feels like the easiest place to start, the most sensible place to start. Had to visit with doctors, basically coming out of it. The word is that Joe will not play any back-to-backs. I feel like that's probably going to be the rest of his career. I don't think you and I would disagree with this decision. I think the goal at this point is not an MVP. It's not an all-star appearance. It's not even like all NBA. It is simply to win in the postseason. And if that means Joe only plays 45 games, 50 games, and it healthy going into the months of May and June, then so be it. Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, yes, you are right. But I think this also just comes down to I keep bringing this up every time we start talking about the Sixers. And I know that I'm about to bring up one of like the greatest players of all time, but Tim Duncan reinvented his body and his conditioning to play an extra 3 years and win 2 more titles. Joel Embiid continues to somehow refuse to get in the correct shape needed to play how he needs to play all the time. I understand that he's lost, he says he's lost some weight, blah, blah, blah. You haven't lost enough. You haven't put the work in to be like we could bring up pictures right now. The difference between Tim Duncan at 31 and when he ended his career. He was 30 pounds lighter, 40 pounds, significantly lighter. And it was all about being able to play all the time to will his team to a championship. I understand that Joel Embiid is a large human being. But he went into the Olympics out of shape. He says what he says about his weight, fine. I will take his word for it because I have no reason not to believe him. But he has not put in the effort of the true winners in this sport. The guy, and again, I understand I'm comparing him to all-time players, but the way Joel speaks about himself is that he should be carried in the same vein as those players. And let me tell you, bud, you haven't earned a bit of it. But if you wanted to be, where is your transformation? Like a LeBron James, like a Steph Curry. Jimmy Butler apparently went on a big thing this year. Got called out by Pat Riley and was like, all right, we'll show you. Jimmy Butler's in his late 30s. he can say all he wants about this. He didn't go into the Olympics in shape. A chance to play with the best winners on the planet. And he went into that out of shape. He could have put in the work. He could have. Nothing's stopping him. Nothing is stopping him from putting in the work to get his body in the proper conditioning. And so, like, yes, this is what you have to do when he's refused to put in the amount of effort that it would take for him to be a durable superstar. Like, I agree with you to the point that, yes, this is the stance they have to take. But I'm done giving him a free pass that, like, oh, now he's really focused. Like, no, you're not. You're not. You just don't feel like doing what you have to do, so you're not going to play back-to-backs. And you're going to play 45 games. The best winners in this league didn't play 45 games. They didn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I know enough about his body or in comparison to Tim Duncan's to make that call. All I want is for him to be healthy in June, and I really don't care how it happens. Whether it's he loses weight and he's able to play 60 games, or he sits for those other 15 and can get through those couple months, and I truly not gonna get a wince of care out of me, as long as he can play. Let's go to two new guys on the roster. I want to start with the rookie. There's something with rookies in Philly and basketball, because we had the thoracic stuff, and then we had the knee stuff with Joel, the stuff with Fultz, Ben Simmons forgetting that like shooting is actually part of basketball. Maxey got through his rookie year, but then his house burned down like in his second season, like, and now Jared McCain has like a bruised heart. Like, what Regs is what, like, I mean, prayers up to the kid. I loved him at Duke. We've talked about it, but why can't a rookie just like have a normal start?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's one of those
Really
really
fascinating.
weird basketball plays.
Yeah, I'm just hopeful he's
He
okay.
didn't
I know
even
they
have, he
said
didn't even have to jump that high. Just for whatever
No.
reason, his feet got out from under him.
But the dude, that's how he plays. Like, he's 100 miles an hour. Like, he's a psycho out there, which is why I love him.
Yeah. Obviously, we hope he's okay and hope this is just like, not as bad as it seems.
No,
But
he avoided some serious stuff.
yeah, luckily.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, can we just like,
wild. Can we just have a normal rookie year?
Exactly.
Just one.
Yeah.
Which leads us to Paul. I texted you the other night and I was like, you gotta be freaking kidding me with this.
Yeah.
Like we have the guy for 5 minutes and I thought his knee snapped.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's a bone bruise. He wasn't concerned. He wasn't like in a boot, or not a boot. He wasn't like in a brace.
Yeah.
He wasn't on crutches. I think we got super lucky.
Yeah.
He probably isn't playing this week. My guess is like when not this week, next week, like when the season tips.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're probably gonna miss him until like the second week at least. But man, did we get lucky, because in that first game, man, I'm watching this dude and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Paul George. Like, he's really good.
He is, but like, this is unfortunately the concern. This is the worry.
Yeah.
That we have two of some of like the most injury prone players.
Yeah.
Who, when healthy, are top tier players. Like, Paul George is still a really good player.
NBA just released their rankings, and I didn't see his. I saw Maxey's 19 and Joe's 8.
There you go.
So I don't know where PG is, though.
My guess, if it's, what is it, a top 50 or 100?
I think it was top 100.
I mean, he's got to probably be in the 30s, would be my guess.
Sorry, I interrupted you. What were you going to say?
I just mean, it's always the fear. It's it's the fear with getting Paul George at this age. It's the fear with Joel. It's that these guys just aren't going to be able to be healthy.
Yeah.
And it didn't even take us into the season to get this started. It's so I don't know what else. I don't know what else we can say about it. I don't know what else we can do. Like this is the ultimate fear. Is that I believe when healthy, this will be a very good team.
Yeah.
I do. But
Just got to hold our breath.
health is a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got, our first and third best player have not proven that they can be healthy over an entire season for many years now. And that's the tightrope we're walking with this stuff. Like, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
And
it's 21.
Who? Oh,
George is
Paul. Yeah, okay.
21.
That's fine.
So they have 3 guys in the top 22, according to ESPN.
That's what I mean. If they're all
Yeah.
we're not worried about Maxi's health. Like, again, I worry about how he plays sometimes and his size.
Yeah.
But it's the other two. It's just the tightrope we're going to walk this year, man. It's going to be all the time. And everyone's going to be on the edge of their seat. Again, hoping it doesn't happen, but basketball is a game of weird stuff.
Yeah.
And weird injuries. And that's just how it goes. And it sucks, but it's just going to be how this season goes.
Yeah, it's going to be every night.
Yeah, and it's terrifying.
Just having to hold our breath every single night with these guys. But listen, it wouldn't be a Philadelphia sport if we weren't stressing
on the edge of our seat all the time.
Yeah. Well, so as they begin and we have to worry about all of the things, another team ends and we don't have to worry about them for like 3 months. Or at least a month until free agency starts, because that'll be here before we know it. And this week, Dave Dombrowski and the Phillies held their postmortem press conference. So Regz and I are going to take some of the key takeaways from that press conference and play a little game of true or false. Regz, I didn't tell you this because I thought of it actually like right now. So I'm going to add another true or false.
Love it.
All the other ones, so you had a chance to prepare. So I'll save this one for last. But let's start. We're going to start with an either or rather than a true or false. During the press conference, Dave Dombrowski was asked about players who had struggled this year, Johan Rojas, Taijuan Walker. And he explained that both of them are going to be on very stringent workout plans. Rojas for his offense and Walker for his velocity in the offseason. But he said neither is guaranteed the spot they held leaving this season, which is the starting center fielder and the 5th man in the rotation. So, Regz, the question is, which is likelier in 2025? Johan Rojas is the everyday center fielder, or Taijuan Walker is the 5th starter?
Johan Rojas is the center fielder. I don't think Taijuan has it anymore. I think it's gone. Whatever magic he captured a couple years ago to get him this contract, I think that was it. He doesn't have a pitching motion. Like, his mechanics don't scream velocity and like able to figure it out. I know we've seen pitchers come back from things and reinvent themselves. I don't think there's any reinventing Taijuan Walker. I don't think all of a sudden he's going to be throwing like 94. You know what I mean? And I think there's a better chance, given some of the moves that they make, that they'll need a really good defensive center fielder. And I think with Rojas's age and hopefully his willingness to change some things, that it's more likely that he's in center field than Taiwan's a fifth starter.
So I'm gonna have a little fun. I'm gonna say Taiwan.
All right.
And you mentioned it in your thing. Guys have reinvented themselves. If you were to tell me that 2 years ago, Sean Manaea would
Yeah.
become one of baseball's best pitchers,
Yeah.
last year that Luis Severino would become one of baseball's best pitchers, I would have laughed at you. I think a lot of fans would have laughed at you. Yankee fans would have laughed at you. Padre fans would have laughed at you. Like, a whole slew of people would have laughed at you.
Mm-hmm.
Who's to say Taiwan Walker can't figure out something? Now, is he going to be Manaea? Is he going to be Severino? No, I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah.
What I am saying is that I think the Phillies really have an outfield problem. I don't think there's any secret there. Their center fielder, left fielder situation this year was positively brutal to watch. So I don't see Rojas making enough improvement offensively to fix that. I think Rojas is a fine fourth outfielder, more than fine. But I just think they're gonna figure out the outfield another way, and
Yeah.
it's not gonna be Rojas. I think Walker.
It's not an. I think this is one of the ones that's probably as close as can be to like a wash, like a push. Like either of these things could happen.
They need a fifth starter more because Painter's not starting the year with the Phils.
Right.
Like they're gonna have to hold innings. So it's likely, likelier to me that Walker starts the year. So let's get into some of the true and false. Topper said that he was asked about Trey Turner playing shortstop. He made a very interesting comment and said that next year Trey Turner is the shortstop, which makes me believe that in 2 years their hope is Aiden Miller is the shortstop. However, let's just assume Trey Turner is the starting shortstop. There's zero doubt that Bryce Harper will be playing first base.
Yes.
Bryson Stott, Alec Boehm are the other two. I think we're going to see a lot more Rafael Marchand this year, with JT getting probably 1 to 2 days a week off. With that being said, the statement that I'm going true and false on is that the infield is set for 2025. True or false, Regz?
False.
The entire infield will be back.
False.
You wanted that one out right away.
Yeah.
Who will not be back?
That I don't know, but I think there was a key other quote that Dombrowski said is that sometimes you trade good players for good players. And I think there's a real chance that Stott or Boehm is in a trade for another good player. Maybe slightly older, and a team is willing to kind of take the age difference, as a value. And they've each shown enough, obviously defensively and offensively, to kind of show that they can be an everyday player. Do each have their flaws? Of course they do. But I think that quote stuck out to me, that sometimes you trade good players to get good players.
If you had your druthers, which one would be back between the two?
Shoot.
I know mine. Mine's Stott. I want Stott back.
My first instinct was to say Stott because of what I think he could get back to if like someone can convince him that his superpower is real, and we just need him to get back to that, as we've discussed on many pods. Yeah. The only reason I said Boehm is because if of the maybe future that Aiden Miller comes up and plays shortstop and Trey goes to second, then you still need a third baseman. So that was my only sort of thought. But if you want to just ask, say the first thing that pops in your head, it was Bryson Stott.
See, I'll be honest with you. I do think there's a world where Trey ends up in the outfield. as time goes on,
Mm-hmm.
just because moving further away from the ball, time to think, because that's when Trey struggles.
The
And I
reaction
think
plays, yeah.
offensively it would help him too, but that's a while off. I also think false regs. I think, you know, we love Alec Bohm for different reasons, but he's also incredibly frustrating for other reasons.
Yeah.
And I think Alec gives you, with Miller coming, you're not re-upping an Alec
Yeah.
Bohm. He's not a guy that's coming back. It's kind of like a Reese Hoskins
Yeah.
situation. So this is the time to trade him. His value's probably at its peak right now. I know what the end of the year looked like. He's coming off an all-star year. You can play the end of the year to injury. I think the Phillies could grab a true closer with Alec Bohm, like a Devin Williams, one of your boys, Ryan Helsley, and potentially like another like outfield bat to go along with it. I've mentioned the name to you in text messages, like Lars Nootbaar,
Mm-hmm.
a guy who does not swing at stuff outside the zone, a guy that does not chase or whiff. Like that's the type of guy that needs to be added right now to this roster. So as someone who loves Alec Bohm, I I don't, it's not something I'm wishing on a star for,
Yeah,
but it
right.
is something that I do. I think the Phillies need three new faces on this offense, and he makes sense to be a guy who's on the way out. So we're on the same page there. Let's move to another quote, because he was asked about, star power, and he went through the whole conversation of, um, look, we've got more, if not as many stars as any roster in baseball. And Reggs, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
Like the star power on this team, there's a lot of it. It hasn't done what we hoped it would do, which is still playing baseball right now. That being said, he went on to say that he doesn't think this team needs another star. Now, he said it doesn't preclude him from going and getting one. It's not counting it out. True or false, the Phillies will not. Well, let me do it this way. It's a little easier. True or false, the Phillies will add a star this offseason. When I say star,
Yeah,
I,
I know what you're
I
talking about.
there's levels,
Yes, of
right? So
course.
you know who we're talking
Yeah.
about here.
If you're saying they will, I believe that is false.
Okay.
Again, I preface that with saying, if you can get freaking Juan Soto, I'm all in. I'm all in. Like, fantastic. But I truly think that this team could benefit more from three guys who just never strike out. Like, granted, they're not going to get a hit every time, but just guys who just constantly put the ball in play and are never worried about if it's hit hard or a home run or an extra base hit. They're just guys that are up there and they piss you off because they foul off everything and they're happy with bloop singles and, stuff like that. And their true mentality is, I'm just getting the guy behind me up to bat. This team turns into a nightmare if you have that kind of balance between the monsters that they will still have next year in Schwarber, Turner, Harper, Castellanos. And then you just fill the rest of the lineup with guys who just will never go away. Like, who, again, are not going to blow the cover off the baseball. They're just guys that are never going to go down, like, are never going to die.
Yeah.
And are just going to wear pitchers out. It's like 7 pitch at bats every time because pitchers, like, they start getting pissed, man. And then you're like, crap, I just walked, like you said, Nootbaar, and now Kyle Schwarber's coming up. You know what I mean? Because we got back to the top. And I just think that's more important. Not more important. I just think Soto is going to be a big reach. And I really, truly believe that if they can get players like that, like, a lot of things are different. A lot of things. I apologize. I keep swiping at a fly that's going around. I look like an idiot on the YouTube video. Don't mind me, people.
He's just fighting flies.
Yep.
I'll send Maverick over. He likes to eat.
Thank you. That'd be perfect.
He'll be there in 2 days.
All right.
So I believe I'm going to say false as well, with the caveat of they're 100% going to be in
Oh, absolutely.
on Juan
Yeah,
Soto.
absolutely.
I don't know that they're going to be able to land him because I do think he's going to end up back in the Bronx. I think he's really enjoyed it there.
Which is a huge bummer.
Yes and no.
I get it. That seems exciting.
I'd much prefer that than Queens.
Yeah, I don't need to see him in our division, please. We had enough.
Again,
we had enough of that.
We'd suffered through that enough, and now he's better than he was then.
Yeah.
So for me, I do believe that, you know, he talked about, look, there's still payroll and things like that, but John is going to be gracious, and I don't believe there's going to be much of a budget because of all the money coming off next year.
Yeah.
Look, there's a name that fits the description that you gave perfectly, but it comes with trading Alec Boehm, and that's Alex Bregman. That dude is a pain in the butt. He does not swing at anything out of the zone. He makes contact. He's a 25 home run guy in Houston, which means he's probably closer to 30 in Philly with the lineup around him and the stadium composition. And he's a tremendously superior defender to Alec Boehm. So the infield gets a major upgrade in that way.
Yeah. Slightly older.
Slightly old. He's 30.
I mean, he had a tough first half, but he kind of figured it out. Was he hurt in the first half?
Well, he was banged up. Yeah. He's also 30. Like Boehm's 28. He's gonna be 29.
Yeah. Listen, you're absolutely right. Every time Bregman would come up against us, you and I would just text back and forth. He doesn't swing at balls. He just doesn't.
No,
they could be this far off the plate, and he's just like, nope.
No. And that in a lineup like this is so necessary. And there are other names. Like I've mentioned Jurickson Profar, who's a guy that I've loved since he was a prospect, who's gonna, he's taken 1-year deals the last like 3 seasons. So, he's gonna be out there and available. There are guys you can acquire via trade who do the same things. And I'm not counting out the idea of Soto.
Yeah.
I won't. And it doesn't mean that if you get Soto that you can't get Bregman. It's going to depend on his market. Yeah. Like all of that matters. And then you fill in other things via trade. Because this team does need a closer.
Yeah.
They absolutely do. And then if you do make 2 big splash moves, and those are your 2 big splash moves, it's likely that Rojas is playing center field till Justin Crawford's ready, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So I think the answer to the question is false, only because I don't think they can win him.
Yeah.
But they're 1,000% in.
Yeah. Agreed.
And I do think Alex Bregman's a Philly. Saying it now. All right. Something we've heard in the past. Don't know what to think of this. He talked a lot about Chase and how they were in the middle of the pack in the playoffs, but it still happened. They still chased when it came down to it. I think I saw they walked 16 times in the 4-game series against the Mets. 5 of those came in game 4. So 11 times in games 1 through 3, which is an absolute joke.
Absurd.
Considering what we're watching happening in this series right now.
Yep.
So the quote was, Chase will be the focus this offseason and heading into next season. Regz, true or false? Chase will be the focus and it will change.
False. False that Chase will be the focus. Because I heard Matt Gelb on his Phillies Therapy podcast, I think, put this in a way that I haven't heard anybody put it. Dombrowski and Thompson brought up using all parts of the field. And he took that as, and he even said, I'm not going to name names, but there were players in the clubhouse who thought that this don't chase mentality would cause them to be less aggressive. And so it didn't resonate like they were looking for. He believed that this is the new narrative. We're going to use all parts of the field. Because that doesn't necessarily mean you're not chasing, but maybe it means that you're taking that down and outside pitch as a bloop to right field. And he also prefaced that, like, look, the prevailing wisdom in the NBA or in the MLB is to, like, pulling the ball does damage. That's been what everyone says for years now. And he made a great point that, it could, like, who knows? Maybe next year it's completely different, that having this mindset puts you ahead of the curve. But he said it's a huge buck of the trend of baseball to have an all-field approach. But the fact that he brought up that there were players in the clubhouse who didn't sort of jive with this don't chase approach, and how he sort of put it that we're all right, we're off of that. It's just going to be use the whole field. You don't have to pull everything. Be willing to take a down and outside pitch to right field and, like, be looking for it. Be willing to do what you have to do. And I just thought it was the best explanation of that Dombrowski quote, and him bringing up that players, weren't maybe 100% on board with the don't chase thing, I think is why I'm going to say false, because I think they're going to try and change the narrative.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. And I don't mind. I didn't hear that, so thank you for the context. I don't mind that. I think we saw more of that from Nick in the postseason.
Yes.
The idea of hitting the ball to all fields, and it worked for him. We saw it from Kyle throughout the year, and it worked for him.
We didn't see it from Bryce.
Not in the postseason.
We didn't see it from Trey.
Nope.
Didn't see it from Bryson Stott. Didn't see it from Bryson Stott.
That's when Bryson Stott's at his best.
We've talked about this, his superpower.
Yeah.
Bohm in the beginning of the year he's always an opposite field guy. Didn't see it from Brandon Marsh. Don't see it from Johan Rojas because his swing is still too long for some reason. Who the hell knows why?
The guy who I think of the most in this is JT Realmuto, who, like,
the problem
destroys the ball to right
but that's
field.
when we know he's on time and he's going well.
Yeah.
Other than that, JT just rolls everything over to the shortstop.
Yeah.
And I think JT's lost it offensively, quite honestly. I don't think we can rely on him to be.
Regz, I just think he plays too much.
That's fine, but
I just think for a guy who's 32, going to be 33 years old or 30, they just didn't trust Stubbs to be able to play every few days, and I fully believe what Topper said in his presser, that they're going to try and get JT off his feet more this year. And that does mean no Garrett Stubbs, but I think this team there needs to be some accountability on this team of like, look, this season's on you, like, you as a group, and they're going to see some of their guys that they love gone.
Yep.
And Trey talked after the game, I hope they keep us together, and I don't think they're going to.
No.
I think they lost that privilege, unfortunately. So, all right, two more. This one is, he talked about the outfield after the infield and said, look, we're going to see what happens with Rojas. We think Hayes was a little beat up at the end of the year. So bless them. Nick Castellanos plays 162 games, and we think Brandon Marsh took steps forward. I agree to disagree. I think Brandon had moments, but not consistently enough. But at the end of that, He said Martian Castellanos are, he also pronounces his name wrong, which drives me nuts. Martian Castellanos are likely to return. True or false? Martian Castellanos will both return in 2025.
I think false because I think Brandon Marsh is gone.
Interesting. See, I think true.
I think it might be true for until the trade deadline. Like, so I don't know whether to say true or false there. I think if you're asking me to start the season, I think it's true.
Okay.
I think if you're asking me like for the whole season, I think it's false.
I think Nick's an all-star again next year.
Oh, Nick is here. I think everyone
Yeah.
has to just get comfortable with. We have Nick Castellanos for 2 more years.
He's the best player the entire second half of the year.
Yeah, I just think he's not going anywhere.
No, and good, because he's honestly the most accountable guy in that clubhouse.
Yeah,
Maybe not named Kyle Schwarber, because Kyle is the most accountable and honest guy in that clubhouse, and was their best player from July on.
Yeah,
including the postseason.
I think Marsh is very in the realm of a
He could
trade,
go.
either in the offseason or at the trade deadline.
He could
I think
go.
if you're at like if truly what is likely to happen, he's probably in center field to start the season.
See it.
But if you're just talking about like if we end the year with Marsh and Castellanos in the outfield, I think it's false.
Okay. All right, last one. True or false? Bringing the entire coaching staff back was the right choice.
This is a tough one.
I'll go. True.
I think I tend to I go ahead. I'll get into mine, but go ahead.
I already kind of told you my why here. I think the team, the players needed to be accountable. This is not on Rob Thompson. Rob Thompson made lineup changes. He was aggressive with the bullpen. The bullpen fell apart at the worst possible time this year. Completely fell apart. Starting pitching was fantastic. I'm not going to get on the starters. He tried different things in terms of, I mean, look, he was depending on Weston Wilson to be the guy who saved the season in left field in a game 4 win or go home game. Because guys like Austin Hayes didn't perform, right? You know, he didn't really move the lineup around a little bit. Alec Boehm gave the 4th spot away. Nick earned it. But I mean, there was a game in the actual freaking postseason that Alec Boehm didn't start because they needed energy. And that's not on Rob. Rob made the decision that everybody would clamor for otherwise. If he didn't make the decision, people, well, Boehm needs to sit. I also don't blame Kevin Long. Like, I agree with what Rob Thompson said, that if you ask players and managers all over baseball, the top 5 hitting coaches are, he would be in every single person's top 5. I've argued this with you and with countless other people. The hitting coach is simply not going to make changes on guys who are 10, 12-year vets.
Yeah.
Now, could he be to blame for Alec and Brandon and Bryson taking steps back? Sure. Absolutely could. But we don't know what those conversations sound like.
Yeah.
And we don't know what these guys are actually implementing based off of conversations and work. But what I do know is this is a total absolute hot take. That just having Kevin Long on the coaching staff does help them in the Juan Soto sweepstakes.
Yeah.
1. 2, he is easily a top 5 hitting coach in baseball.
Yeah.
Like, we loved the guy when they were raking in 2022 and 23.
Right.
We loved him when they were raking at the beginning of the year. All of a sudden, when the team just goes stone cold, it's Kevin Long's fault. Stop. The right choice was bringing these guys back.
Yeah, I agree that I'm 1,000% in with this is a player problem. Like, it has to be on the players. It has to be. We're done like having a scapegoat and all this stuff. These guys are veterans. Mookie, by the way.
Yeah, 2-run bombs. We're gonna get into them in a second.
It's on the players. It's on the players. They have to figure out how to right the ship. They have to figure it out.
Yeah.
They're getting
Yeah.
like a lot of them are getting paid a lot of money, and a lot of them just forgot a lot of pretty basic baseball stuff. So
Well,
it's on them.
I hope that, they take that it's on me mentality and that they're sitting in front of their television
Yeah.
and watching the Los Angeles Dodgers play baseball.
Yep.
It is
God,
it's an
Mookie Betts
entirely
is
different
really
sport.
good. Mookie
Regz,
Betts is really good.
it's an entirely different sport.
Yeah.
The sport that the Dodgers play and the sport that the Phillies play, it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
The Dodgers will sit there and just wear pitchers out.
Mm-hmm.
Wear them out. Luis Severino didn't get through the 5th last night.
What is it? Muncie's been on plate 11 times.
11 straight times.
And 8 of them are walks. 8 of them are walks.
Regz, Quintana was out in the 5th.
Yeah.
Severino was out in the 5th. The Dodgers don't swing at balls.
Yeah.
They don't expand the zone. I said to my brother tonight, he texted me. I texted him before the game. He was at work. He's a beer distributor right now. And he said, or I asked him, do you think LA takes a stranglehold tonight? And he goes, I don't know. Quintana is tough. If LA plays like they did last night, they could win, but Quintana is just difficult. And I said, LA is everything I wish the Phillies were offensively, which makes me think they will have little issues with Jose Quintana. And boy, was I right. They had no problem with Jose Quintana.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't swing at crap. He was frustrated. He was shrugging at the umpire.
Mm-hmm.
Jose, I'm going to tell you right now, just because you faced the Phillies twice in the last month and a half doesn't give you the right to ask for strikes that simply aren't strikes. He ranks number 1 in baseball in pitches outside the zone.
Mm-hmm.
And he made the Phillies swing at everything. But the Dodgers tonight refused. There's a difference in these baseball teams. One is like, I don't know, 12 outs and a game away from a World Series appearance and a total domination of a team that just basically dominated the Phillies.
Mm-hmm.
The other is sitting at home watching. And the difference between the two it's not the names on the paper.
It's not pitching, that's for sure.
It's definitely not pitching. Now, the Dodger bullpen's really good. The difference between the two teams is simply the fact that one has an approach that doesn't allow pitchers to exploit them.
Yep.
And the other swings at anything within a foot of home plate.
Yep.
And I don't mean a foot in either direction. I mean a foot in either direction, up and down.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully the Phillies are watching. And look, less aggressive, taking the ball the other way, whatever.
Yeah.
Watch this and learn from this.
Yep.
Because this is baseball.
Yep.
That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah.
Want to talk about the Eagles?
All right.
Oh, look, another walk. Let's start with this weekend's game. So the Browns came in. The Browns aren't good at football.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson's a really bad quarterback. Amari Cooper was traded the other day. Looks like Myles Garrett could be on his way out too. The Eagles only won by 4. I'm not sure why this was the case. No, I lied. I'm really sure why this was the case. This team refuses to come in ready to play games. I think Lane Johnson said it best when he said the offense is constipated. There's really no flow early in the game. The the mistakes on special teams continue to mount. The defense overall was good. And look, I understand it's a bad offense, but this is what you need to see from a defense against a bad offense. They gave up 9 points. The offense didn't get in the end zone for the Browns. They gave up 9 points. And I think, if they give up 2 touchdowns, I feel a lot worse than I do with 3 field goals. They made a couple of big plays. We saw one player step up. We're going to talk about him in a little bit. But this wasn't the win you're hoping for out of a bye week. I didn't love some of the things I saw on tape. They didn't use the middle of the field outside of a couple of plays. A lot of injuries went down in this game. So hard to feel good. The team's 3-2, but this was not a win that delivers confidence. Right?
Yeah, wasn't an inspiring win, as they like to say.
Mm-hmm.
I think from the defensive standpoint, you're right. 9 points is 9 points. I don't care who you're playing. It's not a lot of points.
No.
I think this is squarely on. Like, when did we ever have more confidence than Andy Reid coming off a bye? And this team continues to come out and be absolutely putrid on offense in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And
although Sirianni is undefeated after the bye. Anyway, your point remains. Go ahead.
Cool. I don't know what to think. I don't know. We're at the point where I think if you truly look past the Sirianni crap, you can't tell if this is a play call problem, a Sirianni problem, or a quarterback problem. And there are things that point to maybe all three in different percentages.
Yeah.
You talked about middle of the field. The Eagles throw in the middle of the field 8% of the time. They are last. No other team is below 15%. No other team. That's for Shil Kapadia of the Ringer Philly Special.
Yeah, I heard him say that.
So it's not even like they're just slightly behind. They're way behind.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's a Jalen Hurts doesn't want to throw there. I haven't watched the film enough to know if there's even routes that are there. And I just don't like the best offenses use the middle of the field. It's that simple. Like, that's all we're talking about. You look at the best offenses in the NFL, they utilize the middle of the field. And we, as a team, for some reason, have either a scheme, a play caller, or a quarterback who refuses to use that part of the field. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure which one it is because I don't think we can tell. But it doesn't matter which one it is, it's a problem. And eventually, like, it will catch up to it will catch up to this team. You can't be this bad at something that's proven to be so good and expect to do well. So I don't know. I don't know what the solution is because I don't know what the problem is.
Yeah, so they did ask about not using the middle of the field, not using motion this week. They talked a little bit about how the middle of the field was a bit clogged because they had extra guys in the box. They like their one-on-ones on the outside, which I feel like every week you're gonna like your one-on-ones on the outside because it's freaking AJ Brown. Like, what are we talking about?
But you know what teams can take away easier? The outside than they can the middle of the field.
Well, if they're gonna go single high, no. Like, if you're gonna go single high, say, you can't take away because it's pick your poison, right? Like, now this week will be interesting because the Giants refused to let receivers beat them. They'll play right over top. They're gonna play a safety over top of AJ and the corner. So it's going to be interesting to see. Do we use the middle of the field this week because of that? Will we see more motion? More talked about motion not being used because they were in tempo a lot. And I totally understand that. But they used motion in weeks 1 and 2. The offense looked good. I'm really hesitant to put blame on Jalen right now. I know people are saying like, he's the common denominator, but I feel like it's kind of unfair. Like he hasn't had the same offensive coordinator for more than a year. Like Steichen was it. That was it. He had Steichen in 21 and 22. And 22, he was phenomenal because I feel like that he finally had a grasp on the offense. And then last year was a complete shit show. And now we're doing another thing. It is a little annoying. I'm not going to lie to you, to watch this offense just plug its way down the field. Now, there were some drives where it felt better. Like, I really enjoyed the drives where, it was just like yards at a clip. They went play action twice and got 2 big gains on it.
Yeah.
Grant Calcaterra looks really freaking good right. And we're going to see a lot of him. He's not a good run blocker, but we're going to see a lot of him in the passing game. And we saw his explosiveness on 2 plays. Like that play action on the rollout. What a freaking catch and run.
Yeah.
But we need to see more of that sort of a thing, especially this week against the Giants team who leads the league in sack.
Yeah.
They got to get Jalen out of the pocket a little bit. They got to get him moving. And I'm hoping that we get some creativity back into the offense, some motion to get people thinking. I do think we're gonna have a big Saquon game this week, and maybe that'll lead to some more play action. But they run the ball enough that play action can be effective because teams don't want them running the football.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see, but I do want to do a quick stock up, stock down with you. I outside of that, Regs, like film wise, it was what you be. Jordan Mailata being out is a killer.
Yeah, it's a huge bummer.
The Goddard injury, I mean, we knew it was going to happen, so it is what it is. But man, that Jordan injury is absolute.
Yeah, it's brutal
right now with the team that we're playing this weekend coming in. They're gonna have to do some things to help Fred Johnson out in the pass game.
Yeah.
So expect Saquon to help out. And the possession with the blocked field goal, that's a Saquon possession. We love him, and there's no doubt that we feel fortunate to have him. But stepping out of bounds there is brutal. And then missing that block on the 0 blitz, because watching that film back, he had Devontae.
And I think he was looking for him too.
Oh, dude, he was wide. Dude, it was a touchdown.
Yeah.
It was 6. But Saquon missed the block because Jalen saw his blitzer.
Yeah.
And he knew the time he had on his blitz. In cover 1, or I'm sorry, in 0 blitz, your offensive linemen all have someone. Your running back has someone. And you have your eye on one.
Yeah.
So your running back is supposed to pick up your blind side blitzer. And then you've got your front side blitzer. If Saquon doesn't miss his block, he's got Devontae, and that is in the middle of the field. It's a post play.
Yeah.
And it's 6. But Saquon missed the block. So super unfortunate there. But they're gonna have to help. They're gonna have to help on Sunday. Defensively, everything is what you thought it would be. Jordan Davis did not play a lot. Moro Jama played really well. A lot better from Bryce Huff this week.
Yeah.
He didn't get home, but them letting him go more in his rush stance, 4 down, made it a significant difference. I did see somewhere though that he's been in 4 down quite a bit this
Yeah.
year. I'm not sure. I think it's just they were in a lot of pass rush
Well, yeah.
down.
Right.
So that's makes such a huge difference when you're in pass.
Yeah.
Nakobe Dean misses way too many tackles. That's got to
He
change.
just gets absolutely torched in the open field. He
Way
can't
too
stay
many.
with anybody.
Way too many. So I just got 3 quick stock up, stock downs, and I'm gonna start with Jalen Hurts here. First game that Jalen did not turn over the ball or have a turnover worthy
Yeah.
play since
Yep.
last year. Major stock up for me. When he doesn't turn the ball over, they're gonna plain and simple. He was careful with the ball. He put the ball in good spots. Ran it well. Threw it well. Threw it accurately. And I really thought played one of the better games against it's a good defense. It's not a bad defense. Played one of the better games he's played. So stock up for me.
Yeah.
Kellen Moore. I don't know here because again I kind of want to say stock stays because I don't know that we have enough.
So
because
I heard another interesting tidbit here from the Philly special where they had Sean Syed on, and Sheil asked him, like, Sean, in the film you watch, is this like just a variation on the Nick Sirianni offense, or are we watching Kellen Moore really have some influence here? And he said, Sheil, I could go through and name you 11 plays that he's never seen an Eagles offense run in the past 3 years.
Okay.
So he's not saying it's like all Kellen Moore. And he did say that Kellen Moore and Sirianni come from that same sort of offensive tree. So not a ton of it is like you didn't grab someone from Shanahan. So it's not going to look, like a complete 180. But he said just this week, I saw 11 plays that were never run with that, like when Kellen Moore wasn't here.
Okay. All right.
So he's like, look, is there still not enough? That's why I tend to like think the middle of the field stuff moves more towards Jalen somehow, because I don't know, like Kellen Moore in the past has had a bunch of plays under center, and Jalen doesn't seem to like doing that.
Jalen doesn't like under center.
Yeah.
There's
middle of the field,
no question.
middle of the field with Dak, they were 11th in the NFL in utilizing the middle of the field. So at some point, this does come down to Jalen in that sense. But it was very interesting because a lot of the vitriol has been, well, this is just Nick's offense. We're just watching Kellen call Nick's offense again.
Okay.
And it very much seems like that's not true. That Kellen like is putting in these plays that are nothing like what we've seen before. But they still seem to be coming out with these tendencies of what we've seen in the past. So it's very difficult to pinpoint, like I said, like why. It's very difficult to pinpoint why.
Well, I think some of it, when we watched them play the Packers, they did use the middle.
Yeah.
So I do wonder, like, it might be matchup based, and we're just gonna have to keep an eye sort of on why that is, what that looks like. But I think we can both think of 3 or 4 plays easily in the Packer game that were middle of the field plays. I mean, their biggest gain on Sunday, the touchdown strike in the 4th quarter to Devontae Smith, was the middle. So I don't know. One thing I want to mention here, and this is a major stock up. I heard this on a couple of podcasts and it made me laugh. The biggest addition to the Eagles this year is not Saquon Barkley. It's not CJGJ. It's certainly not Bryce Huff. Or Kellen Moore or Vic Fangio even. It's the fact that they can run this mesh concept without offensive PI.
Yeah.
Like, it's worked twice now.
Yeah. It's been like the greatest play that they ever run. Yeah.
The Goddard play, and then this week they did it for the touchdown. It's incredible. All right, last one. Stock up, stock down. I think it's an easy one. The rookie corners. Quinion and Coop.
Yeah, I think stock up. I think we need to see Coop play like coverage a little better. But I think from a standpoint of being aggressive, like in the run game and blitzing and things like that, that dude's just all over the place. And
What
I think, look,
tackles, man? He hits.
well, yeah, unless he just let Deshaun Watson stand after that one crazy blitz.
That was weird
It
though.
was
Like he stepped
very
up into it.
he got scared that he was going to get a
Yeah.
penalty for like
Yeah.
blindsiding him.
Yeah.
But I think we need to see Cooper cover a little bit better, which I think is understandable. It's his first, true game. Quinyon continues to be a revelation.
I need him to get a pick.
Especially
I need
when
the pick.
especially when Ringo came in and they targeted Keely on every play, and he did not look up for it. Quinyon is like, the fact that he was so pissed about that pick, I loved it. I loved every bit of it.
So I read on Twitter somewhere like, hard to blame CJ. Last time he was here, a corner or James Bradbury was like 4 yards behind that ball or something like that.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
So like,
That's really
you
funny.
know, he didn't expect Quinyon to be there. But that dude's incredible. And yeah, I agree with you. I need in coverage from
Yes.
Coop, but I will say this, and I think I said it on our last show, and I believe it's going to happen this week. We're about to get a key piece to the defense back. I'm telling you, man, Sidney Brown, like
So
that.
yeah.
I think he's coming back this week.
So Sean Syed said another great thing is that Vic's defense is all about, you don't know where these guys are going to end up. They're going to start in one place, and then by the time you snap the ball, they're all in different places. And the versatility that Coop gives you and that Sidney Brown gives you, like, are huge. You're going to see these guys in one place before you snap it, and at the snap of the ball, they're going to be somewhere else. And I think the versatility and the athleticism that those guys bring to this particular defense is extremely important. And I think it's going to pay huge dividend. Like, I think it's going to pay off huge. I think it's going to, again, Sidney Brown is not the best covered safety. We know that. We saw it when he played. We get it. CJGJ has been terrible in coverage this year. Like, just downright terrible. Cooper, we got to see it. It's one game. He was asked to do a lot of different things. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt right now. Quinyon is just, thank God they put him outside and just let him cook, because, God, I love that guy. I love him.
Yeah, he's something.
But I think Vic is, specifically Vic's defense is utilize that versatility so much. And I think it's going to be huge to have those two guys available all the time. And quarterbacks are going to go look at their iPad at the end of a play and they'll be like, that dude was 9 yards in a different direction when I hiked the ball. And he was somewhere completely different when I got the ball in my hand.
I think that's the way that he's going to have to create pressure.
Yes.
Because we're not going to get it with the down four.
Yeah,
So dropping guys out of the front four and bringing Cooper, and that's going to be the chess piece now that you get Sidney Brown back. Because both he and Cooper can be blitzers. So you, as a quarterback, you've got to be thinking which one of them,
right,
and who's dropping out, or maybe it's both, and you're getting two guys dropping out.
Right.
So it's and what tackle is going to be able to catch both of those dudes flying in from the left side, and you only get one running back to share. So I am anxious to get Sidney Brown back. And see him and Cooper flying around together. Because I don't remember the last time they had this kind of athleticism. Flying around at a second level. Second and third level.
And a defense and a coordinator that really loves that kind of versatility.
Yeah. Look, I'm still not. I was texting someone tonight who was like, "Oh, I'm just waiting to be by the Eagles now," and I was like, it was Randy, friend of the show, Randy. I said, Randy, like, the easiest way not to get hurt by the Eagles is just don't believe that they're good. Like,
I still think they're a mediocre team.
Yeah, I don't even know that they're a playoff team right
Yeah.
now. I'm certainly hoping that, we see a turnaround. Football is so week to week, and
Yeah.
we saw that last year. The team was 10-1 and ended 10-7 or 11-6, whatever it was, and then lost in the first round of the playoffs. So football is crazy. And maybe it's a reverse this year where things stunk at the beginning for us
Mm-hmm.
and it's different toward the end. Maybe that's what we're looking at this
Yeah.
season. But it starts with the Giants now. It's one game at a time. The Giants look like they're pretty formidable. They
Yeah.
don't look like a bad football team right now. I believe 2-4. Is that the record? They are 2-4. And you're going to MetLife. The Eagles are 3-point favorites
Mm-hmm.
going there. It is the Saquon return game. 42.5 is the total. For me, Regs, the key is I just need to see the offense get off to a good start.
Yeah.
I was actually thrilled that they took the ball first.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
Yeah.
And I know it didn't pan out. I know they didn't score. But I would like to see them do it again.
Yeah.
I really want them to keep taking the ball. Let me say it this way. On the road, I want them to take the ball. At home, I want them to defer. Reason being, at home, the crowd gets restless very quick.
Yeah.
And if you don't score, that doesn't go well.
Yep.
On the road, it's a little different.
Yeah.
I think you can take it in. If you don't score, it's a little easier to get back on the sideline and do your thing.
Yeah.
So the key for me is get off to a good start. I think if this offense, because it hasn't happened since before the Niners game
Yeah.
last year, that this offense has gotten off to a good start. I think this offense just needs one
Yeah.
drive to start a game.
Got to
that
see
kicks
it
them
go
in
through the
gear.
hoop, right? Got to see it go through the hoop.
Yes. They just need to get one good opening drive under their belt, and I think they can start rolling a little bit.
Yeah.
And with that being said, the key is that, but it's just feed Saquon. I want to see a drive where they did it on the opening possession this week. First down, 6-yard gain to Saquon. And then throw down the sideline. Saquon runs for 6, give him the freaking ball again. Worst case scenario, he gets 3 and you brotherly shove yourself to a first down. That won't bother me. I don't care if that's what we use Saquon to set up those shots down later in the game. For crying out loud, you've got a top 3 running back and 2 top 10 receivers, one of them being a top 3 wide receiver. Create offense for them. Don't make them be the thing that creates it. You don't need AJ Brown to win on talent. Use the fact that he's AJ Brown to scheme him open.
Yeah.
Use Saquon to build to that. And then teams are like, crap, do we keep 2 safeties or do we load the box and take our chances? Because that's the way this offense is built. We got to worry about Saquon Barkley, so we need an extra player in the box. Oh, crap, AJ Brown can be one-on-one down the. And I know we didn't have that for weeks. I know.
Mm-hmm.
But I need this team to do it this week. They need a blowout win, and it starts with getting off to a quick offensive, juggernaut type of a drop.
Yeah.
So that's my key. What is yours? And then we'll get into predictions.
No, I think I completely agree. I think the offense is the key. I think the defense will be able to key in on Neighbors and take that away. The Giants don't do anything else but target that guy.
He's good though.
He is very good. Yeah.
Also, the baseball side note, Max Muncy has reached his last 12 plate appearances. This is insane.
Mm-hmm.
All right, go ahead.
I think it's the key. I think we just have to show that we can put up points efficiently. And I just think that this defense, there's no one else good outside of Dexter Lawrence.
Brian Burns is really good.
Yeah, and the edge. Yeah, Brian Burns. But like they
Yeah,
don't have good
they're
linebackers. Like their secondary has nobody. Like you just have to take advantage of this stuff and show that
yeah,
you have the offensive versatility
yeah.
to like get Devontae Smith open all the time, to get AJ Brown open all the time. So yeah, that I'm
And
with you on the key.
and some of that is like giving Jalen time.
Yes, for sure.
And without Jordan Mailata,
It's going to be tough. This D line is scary.
I mean, that's why I'm saying I want to see Jalen moving.
Yeah.
I don't want him standing still in the pocket. I want him moving away from, and if they can figure out a way to do that, I think that the offense will be just fine.
Yeah.
So 3-point favorites, 42.5 total. Regs, I have the Eagles winning, but in a close game, even though I want the blowout, 24-20.
I have 21-13.
Okay. So a little more comfortable.
Yeah. I think they hold them to, I think it's probably pretty close. I think it's like 14-10, you know, going into maybe the fourth. And then we get a touchdown, we hold them to a field goal, and we just kind of run the clock out.
Okay.
And that's it.
I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine with that. My thing this week is you already have the Goddard injury. You already have the Mailata. This field sucks. I just need them coming off of this crap field without an injury, because this is the last time we won't be back here this year.
Yeah.
Last year we had to do it twice.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping win the game, get out healthy. That's why I want a blowout. I want all these dudes off
just
the field
sitting
in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want them all off the field. I want to see freaking Kenny Gainwell. I want to see Will Shipley.
Yeah.
I want to see, what's his face? Kenny Pickett.
Yep.
Like, give me Jahan Dotson.
Yeah,
Like, I need that kind of a game. Like, I need freaking oxygen. We haven't had that game since 2022. Right?
Yeah.
We didn't have him at all last year. The Dolphin game was it.
Right.
So, unfortunately, I don't know that we're gonna get it. Hey, do we have a second for like a quick fixated?
Yeah, of course we do.
Okay.
Literally the name of the show, so of course we do.
I know. We don't do it every week, and I know this is a little because of the episode we had a lot to talk. But I almost wore a Notre Dame on the show tonight. I know you've seen this, but there are people that listen that don't. I'm a Notre Dame fan. I know that's been a Notre Dame fan my whole life. And I've seen a lot of coaches. I was super young when Lou Holtz. So I've seen Bob Davie. I've seen Ty Willingham. I've seen Charlie Weiss and Brian Kelly and all of them, right? And there haven't been many good ones, truly. Brian Kelly got the program on track, and I'll always be appreciative that he brought the program from like irrelevance to relevance again. And one of the things I'll be most grateful to him for is hiring Marcus Freeman, who I believe might be the best head coach of any team that I cheer for currently, and any team that I cheer for not named Mike Krzyzewski ever again. I appreciate leadership for a lot of reasons. I think leadership goes far beyond the people that you're supposed to lead. I think it connects to the people that they connect to. So like, I always believed that it was important for my teachers to go home happy so that their families could feel that joy. I didn't want them to go home and hate work, because I took that personally as a leader, right? Like, I feel like that's what makes a good culture. And I think it reaches far beyond just the four walls of wherever we lead. When I left the building, the teachers had reached out to Marcus to make a video to just say thank you. And he did it. And they did it through the app Cameo. And Marcus doesn't keep any of that money, donates it to a charity in South Bend. So after my book was published and things settled down, there were certain people I wanted to send a book to. And Marcus Freeman was one. And I wrote him a note just telling him how much I appreciated his leadership. I don't watch the press conference of many coaches. Like, I don't watch toppers after games. I certainly don't watch Sirianni. I don't watch Nick Nurse's, right? Like, I don't watch press conferences. But every single Tuesday afternoon, I watch Marcus Freeman. And the reason I watch Marcus Freeman is because of the way he talks about players, about Notre Dame, about what he tries to instill in these 18 to 22-year-old guys. And I wrote him a letter thanking him for that and how much his leadership impacted mine. And I sent him a copy of the book. I signed it. I don't think my signature matters to him at all. And I sent this like a month and a half, to be clear. Totally forgot that I sent it. And yesterday we came in from walking the dog. My wife got the mail. We go inside and she hands me a letter from the University of Notre Dame. I should have brought it down to read it. But as I open it, I'm like, holy shit. Like, I think this might be like from Marcus Freeman. And I start reading it and it starts, Mike, thank you so much for sending your book. And continues with, I can see why you're an inspiration to so many. The next time you're on campus, please let me know. I'd love to meet you. And goes on to say, he can't wait to read my book. Marcus Freeman can't wait to read my book. And then said one of the things that I always said to the best is yet to come. And then in like exclamation points wrote heartbeats. Love Marcus Freeman. And I about melted. So here's the point of this. I don't think it ever matters how big you are. I don't think it matters what your title is, what your role is. This dude is the head coach of one of the most prestigious football programs in the world. And it's the most well-known football program across the world, like across the globe. And this dude who wrote a stupid little memoir from the middle of Pennsylvania and mailed it to you, to most people, wouldn't deserve a short note back. And here's one of the busiest guys that you can imagine, who took the time to sit down and write 8 sentences, and it totally changed the complexion of my week. So you're never too big or never too special or too powerful to make an impact in someone's life who might just be a little the rankings of the world. And I think that's true leadership. So thank you to Marcus, who will never hear this. And hopefully, and I don't say hopefully, I look forward to having the opportunity to meet him and thank him for just that simple note and take a picture so I can frame the two next to each other. That's my fixated. You're never too big, never too important. That being said, thank you everybody for listening. Thanks for hanging out with us. We will be back next. It might not be next Thursday. I travel. So we will be back. Regz and I will talk. We'll get
sometime
an
next
episode
week.
sometime next week to recap the Eagles. Talk about the Sixers opening tip, probably. And nothing with the Phillies. Hopefully we're celebrating the Mets being eliminated from
Yes.
the playoffs.
Yes.
Go ahead and follow us. Click subscribe on the YouTube channel. Wherever you get your podcasts, do the same thing. Go ahead and follow us on social media at the Phixated Pod on Twitter. Big Regz with a Z, the Mic Drop 5. Phixated fan page on Facebook, at the Phixated Pod on TikTok. We love you. We appreciate you. Click the merchandise link in the show description. We'll talk to you next week. Until then, go Birds.
Beat the Mets, Dodgers, please.
Oh my God! Deep to right field, way up there and way out of here.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.